Sunday, August 21st, 2022, the 21st Sunday of Ordinary Time. From reading the Gospel, it is clear that many early Christian communities were preoccupied with the question of the coming of the Kingdom of God. Repeated usage of this phrase has often taken away the power of this concept. The Kingdom of God simply means the establishment of divine reign. Many believed then, and even now, that Jerusalem was the capital of the Kingdom of God. The concept of a heavenly Jerusalem evolved out of a nostalgia for the city. The popular idea was that not everyone would belong to this kingdom, and that there would be a selection. So, who will be in, and who will be out? Luke deals with the anxieties of his community with that question in this gospel passage. The question must also be understood in its original context, that of the journey of Jesus to Jerusalem with a great company of Galileans. The imagination of the fellow travelers was growing. As the days passed, they pondered the establishment of the kingdom of God in Jerusalem. The reference to the children coming from east and west, from south and north, is taken out of Isaiah, placing the mental preoccupations of the fellow travelers in the context of the restoration of Jerusalem. The victory is celebrated with a banquet in Jerusalem, as envisioned by the prophet Isaiah. The story that played out in the mind of the Galilean followers is reflected in this language of the physical restoration of Jerusalem with Jesus the Messiah. However, the meaning that Jesus prepares for them is very spiritual. The restoration of Jerusalem and the kingdom of God are not one and the same. For Jesus, the reign of God is the liberation of all the children of God, as he announced in his debut sermon at the Nazareth synagogue. Domestication of the divine has become one of the patterns of human behavior from the beginning of civilization. The universal restoration that Jesus has in mind seems to have been well domesticated for now, and has been given a locus and name in Jerusalem by those who were accompanying him. When Jesus asked them to enter through the narrow gate, his followers probably thought of the story of the Camel's Gate in Jerusalem, which is mentioned also as the eye of the needle in Matthew's Gospel. The Camel's Gate was probably used to bring supplies into the city while the main door was closed. It required traders to take down the supplies from the camel's back and carry them by hand since the gate was so narrow, and only a camel without any payload could pass through. Well, Jesus is still speaking in a spiritual sense. Those who are fat with riches and ego will have to unload them before they enter into the new kingdom. If you have too much of them, you will spend time unloading and loading them again, and will likely be late for the banquet. We find the master in the story showering very harsh judgments on those who come late. Some were preachers. Some of them were exorcists. Well, they all had heavy baggage with them, and they got to the party late. The story reminds me of an advertisement for a railway company, which said, "Less luggage, more comfort." Life is a journey, and every journey becomes burdensome if we carry too many things, no matter how good or how bad. They just become dead weight. It is wiser to leave behind in our journey of life the list of good things that we have done. Leave behind also the memory of betrayals, failures, and hurts. Travel light. Whatever we carry with us in our journey should be expendable to others. I am sure that you have heard of the journey of the monks, A group of monks decided to go on a 3-day-long trek to pray on a mountaintop for a few days. They had to carry their provisions and everything they needed to get to the mountaintop with them. They prepared the needed stuff in bundles, and everyone rushed to carry light weighing bundles. There was one monk, however, who rushed to carry the heaviest bundle. It was the food kit for their meals on the way. The other monks gave a hushed laugh at the apparently unwise decision of this humble but maybe foolish monk. As the early morning journey progressed to breakfast time, the supposedly foolish monk opened his bundle and gave breakfast to everyone, making his bag a little lighter and a little smaller. Then he continued the same way for lunch and dinner on that day, and then for lunch and dinner on the next day. While the rest of the monks got exhausted carrying their heavy burdens, as the journey progressed, the humble monk's bag became lighter and lighter and lighter. All that is worth carrying during our life is what we can give to others. Let us be like that wise and humble monk, giving what he has to others to make our burdens lighter.